The Silver Crown by Robert C. O'Brien, Chapter 27, The Big Screen. "The question is," said the king, "how do we make you a part of it?" They were back in the throne room, and he was standing at the windows again, looking out, hands in pockets. Ellen said not a word. The sight of all those machines, so evil-looking, so nearly complete, had given her, at first, a feeling of terrible hopelessness. She had looked at a disaster about to fall upon the world, and the world knew nothing of it at all. Only she knew, she and the king and the Hieronymus machine, unless you counted the workmen who were making the machines, and you couldn't count the workmen because they obviously did not know what they were doing. You could not count the king either, she had realized, with that terrifying flash of intuition when she saw the new machines being built before her eyes. The king was not building them. He had said as much. Each of them could stop making another 24. The Hieronymus machine itself was building them, and that meant that the king was not really the king at all. The machine was in control. The king's every action was under orders. He was in tune like the rest of them, only when he wore the crown, more so. Right now he was saying, "You're not like your friend Jenny. When we put her on the screen, she gets in tune, and she does it a little more easily each time. She'll come around, but you—" He paused and then added, as if to himself, "Of course, there's the big screen." Ellen, grasping for time to keep him talking while she tried to think, said, "The big screen? What's that?" She would have to pretend to cooperate, to be interested in the problem of getting in tune, but she had no intention of doing so if she could help it. She was a monkey wrench, the king had said. Very well, she would be a monkey wrench, only she and Otto, if she could rescue him, and maybe Jenny, stood in the way of the plan. But even a small monkey wrench in the gears can stop a bulldozer. She remembered the despised fable. A little damage can cause a lot of damage. They had taught her that lesson. Now she would use it against them, but how? "It's outside," the king said. "We have to keep it there because there's danger of feedback." What does feedback mean? The big screen, Ellen realized, must be the playpen thing she saw through the gate. It means that the emanations from this screen are so powerful that they might affect the Hieronymus machine itself, even though it starts them in the first place. You might say it's like shouting so loudly you deafen your own ears. That screen would get you in tune all right, but with a mind like yours, we don't like to use it. You are, we think, potentially extremely valuable to us, and that screen has unpleasant side effects. Ellen noticed, not for the first time, the odd way the king had of switching from I to we when he spoke. Now she realized that when he said we, he meant the Hieronymus machine, so the machine thought she was potentially valuable, and a monkey wrench. She wished to know why. "You can see for yourself, if you like," said the king. Ellen walked to the window and looked out. There was a man in the playpen thing, the big screen, and he seemed to be trying to get out. "That man," said the king, "was trained for a mission of vital importance, but when we sent him he failed completely. He went to pieces, so now he is being retrained. As you can probably see, he doesn't like it. That's one of the side effects." The man on the screen was running feebly from side to side, as if he wanted to climb the low fence that surrounded it, but each time he reached the fence something seemed to pluck him back, so that he turned blindly and ran the other way. His face was horribly twisted, as if he were in pain, but even so Ellen recognized him. "Oh!" she cried. "Poor Mr. Gates!" So at last she gave herself away. The king looked at her in puzzlement for a moment. Then he walked across the room and flicked a small switch on the wall. A voice spoke from the ceiling. "Yes, Your Majesty?" "Bring 719M to the throne room immediately," said the king, and he clicked the switch off. A minute later, Mr. Gates was escorted, and in part supported, for he seemed terribly weak, into the room by two enormous black-clad figures. One of them Ellen recognized. It was the friendly fat man, the one who had got her the sandwiches. It seemed so long ago, in the little park near the post office. So even he was one of them. The other was a woman, the first woman Ellen had seen in the castle, and she was even bigger and fatter than the man. Mr. Gates stared at Ellen with a dazed expression, then his face changed and he stumbled toward her. "She's the one!" he cried in a high, hoarse voice. "She's the one that ran away! That's Ellen Carroll!" They held him back. The fat man looked at her sharply. Yes, he said, she's the one. Then he smiled at Ellen, friendly as ever. Don't you remember me? I remember you, Ellen said. The fat man nodded toward the woman. You see, he said, I told you my wife was fatter than I am. Now the king spoke to Ellen, and his words were made all the more menacing by the sweet, gentle look in his eyes and the patient expression on his face. Where is the silver crown? He asked, and when Ellen did not answer, he added softly, We will get it, you know. We will get it no matter what we have to do to you. And that's the end of chapter 27.